why learn the signs before the Day of Judgment? In the hadith of the Dajjal, first Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will command, in 1 year, He will command the sky to withhold 1/3 of its rain, and the earth to withhold 1/3 of its produce. Then the second year Allah will command the sky to withhold 2/3 of its rain, and the earth 2/3 of its produce. And in the third year, Allah Azza wa Jal will command the sky to withhold all of its rain. And the hadith says, it will not rain a single drop. And the earth to withhold of its produce, and not a single plant will grow. And when not a single plant grows, all hooved animals die except for what Allah wills. Yani, the majority of them will die except for very, very few hooved animals. They will all die. And then there will be extreme hunger and famine and poverty in the world. And then the companions asked the Prophet ﷺ, what will sustain people? How will people remain alive? And he said, Tahleel and Takbir and Tahmeed. So people say, يعني Tasbih, ya Subhanallah, La ilaha illallah, walhamdulillah. These words now, you speak these words and there will be nutrition running through your veins. Vitamins, nutrition, glucose, protein, just by speaking these words. So Ibn Kathir and others from amongst the scholars, they say, how would these people know that, and who would guess that if I say Subhanallah, La ilaha illallah, alhamdulillah, I'll get nutrition? Who would know something like this? Would you guess something like that? Nobody would guess it. They said that these people would know it because of this hadith. And then and he says, Ibn Kathir rahimahullah says, this is the importance of teaching this hadith to your children, and then they teach it to their children, and so on and so forth. So that whoever from your loins, your offspring will reach that time, they'll know how to behave at that time, they'll know how to survive. Likewise, the hadith of the young man, that the Dajjal will come and he'll cut this young man. Hadith says, a young man brimming with youth, he'll cut him in half, and he'll put the halves far apart from each other and walk between them. Then he will call, and this young man will be brought back together, brought back to life. This is just one of the signs that Allah allowed the Dajjal to have, to cut someone in half and bring him back to life. When the young man is brought back to life, he now has a big smile and he's happy now. And he says, now I'm sure that you're the Dajjal. How would he know for sure? And anyone else would be like, I believe you now. Tuhil mauta, you bring the dead back to life. I know who you are now. But this young man says, no, I'm so sure that you're that liar. How does he know? Because he read the hadith exactly. And this is the importance of understanding these things. And the thing that, perhaps not to freak everyone out too much, there are some scholars, and now I'm talking about legitimate scholars, not the guy with the weird show on YouTube. The legitimate scholars who actually believe that, it's very possible that we could be at the time of the Dajjal. So it could be during your lifetime. طبعا, if now we're going to start debating, no one knows. These are issues of the unseen. So could it be in your lifetime? It's very possible. Could it be in your children's lifetimes? It's very possible. Could it be in your grandchildren's lifetime? It's also very possible. So then it's more befitting that we study these things now, because we could be living in those times, or we could be living in the beginnings of these times. As far as the Dajjal is concerned, a lot of the signs for the emergence of the Dajjal are here today. They're there. So it's just missing for him to come out. Yeah? And when he comes out, it's going to be a tough situation. We said that a man would tie his wife up in the pillars to the pillar of the home, so she doesn't go to join the army of the Dajjal. What does that mean then? Then it means you should teach your children, you teach your family, you teach your wife about the Dajjal, his clear signs. And the Prophet ﷺ told us, while you're studying this field now, as you're studying this field, you'll see the way to protect yourself from the Dajjal. And that is to memorize the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf. So if well, this is not an important issue. And then the Dajjal, you see on CNN that he gets come out, and then he meets you. I'm like, oh my goodness, I should have studied this stuff. Now what do I do? And then someone will yell out to you, Surah Al-Kahf, the first 10 verses. I'm like, oh, okay. But I haven't memorized them. That's why it's so important to study this material, to know how to survive in these situations, and to pass on the information. And beyond that, and inshallah you don't see the Dajjal, say Ameen. Beyond that, at least this is knowledge of the deen, and knowledge of the deen, learning of it, even if it's material that you cannot apply. So say someone is absolutely broke, but he learned about, you know, the zakah and the zakah of gold and how you take that out and everything. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم من يرد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين. Or if Allah intends good for you, He gives you understanding in the religion. So suppose, like, you don't have to experience the Dajjal to learn about the Dajjal. Knowledge of the religion is barakah in and of itself.